Let's take a quick look at an overview of how we do the Plop-Plop-Fizz-Fizz experiment. So before you do the experiment, make sure that you've read the lab thoroughly and you've done the pre-lab. Make sure to write down the volumes of vinegar and water that you're using. Don't rely on your memory to just remember which volumes you're going to be using. Also, make sure and locate distilled water if you have it available. Do make sure and look at the instructions on what to do if you don't have distilled water. You can also use tap water if needed. Make sure and gather all of your supplies. Not pictured in here, as I also used one of the styrofoam cups from the kit to just be able to pour the water more easily. You do want to make sure you have everything available and in one place right when you're doing the experiment. Notice that I also have a dropper, so I can use that dropper to help me to get my volumes more accurate. Measure out your vinegar. In this case, I'm using 15.0 milliliters. This is for experiment number 4. Make sure that you're using the volume that you are assigned for your trial. Notice I used the dropper to dispense the vinegar into it so I can get right onto that 15.0 milliliter line for the bottom of my meniscus. Measure out your water. Also got that at the 20.0 because this is trial 4. Do make sure you use the amount that's for the trial you're using. After measuring the vinegar and measuring the water, each time I put those into the container. So after the 15 milliliters of vinegar, I put it into my cup. After the 20 milliliters of water, I put that into my cup. So make sure that you empty this in between. Also, you'll want to clean this in between the vinegar and the water. Then I find the mass of the liquids together. So make sure that you zero out your balance, so it should have zeros all across. Then you can weigh your cup with your vinegar and water in there. Then I find the mass of the tablet, so I want to make sure that it was at 0 again. And then I put the tablet on to get the mass of the tablet. Now I've got all of the background data I need to do the experiment. I simply add the tablet to the liquid. You'll see it fizz a whole bunch. Do make sure that it stops fizzing. So you'll need to make sure it stops fizzing once it's clear. You may be able to gently swirl it to get it clear, or you may need to stir it. So you do have the spoon to stir it. If you do stir it, make sure and tap the spoon on the edge of the cup so that you get as much liquid in the cup as possible. You don't want to lose any liquid. You also want to make sure that when you weigh it afterwards, you take that spoon out. So this is the weighing after it's clear. Notice you might have a little liquid up on the sides. It might look a little very slightly different from this, but it just gives the general idea. After you're done, make sure and clean up. Rinse well with the distilled water if you have it available, or rinse with your tap water. You will need to be able to use these cups for other experiments, so do make sure that you clean it, store it, and after it's dry, you store it somewhere safe.